Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace calls for peace and harmonious coexistence in southern Kaduna. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace, IDFP, is saddened by the waves of violent conflicts in Kaduna State, most especially in Kajuru, Zango Kataf, Kaura, Biriningwari, Chukum, among other local government areas affected by wanton killings and destructions of property worth of billions of naira. In recent times, the state is witnessing another wave of violence, coupled with extent of insecurity of lives of the citizens, which has taken a diverse shape as it hate speeches, banditry, activities, kidnappings, crop and livestock farmers' conflict with a dimension of violent extremism in the nature of killings meted on the people, most especially in the rural areas. We are using this statement to condole with the families of those that have lost their loved ones and pray that God Almighty will give the immediate families the ability to bear the pains, and to their entire citizens in Kaduna State, eschew bitterness and promote love. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace, IDFP, sees the violence in the southern and other parts of Kaduna State as a factor associated with the extent of insecurity which affected all aspects of human survival. We seek and plead with the federal government, Kaduna State government, and all stakeholders to ensure that they do the needful to protect lives of the people. Seeing the inhuman treatment by fellow human beings to humanity and lack of open justice that has greatly affected lives of all in all its ramifications. These have resulted to shortage of food productions due to level of insecurity on the farms and homes and increase in the rate of internally displaced persons. This has further affected job opportunities, coupled with health-related challenges affecting the vulnerable young girls and women, whose fates are determined by the reality on ground. These, thereby exposing them to rape, domestic violence, and lack of access to education. All this has compounded the situation and hence endangering their lives and that of their children. We are using this medium to plead on all the people affected by this violence to ensure fairness and openness in resolving the immediate challenges within the communities. Further, we are calling on all compromise, allowing peace to reign, and to shun all manner of hatred by embracing the culture of true love and true friendship. And these are our prayers. 1, security agencies should be professional in their discharge of their duty when it comes to saving lives, while calling on communities to support them in their tasks to protect citizens and bring normalcy. 2, we are aware there are communities where women and children are abandoned without any support. We recommend an urgent and immediate attention of the state government by providing them with food, shelter, and medical assistance. 3, We are therefore calling on all relevant stakeholders and government agencies to put in place all the necessary measures to curb the menace of violence attacks in communities in the affected areas and other parts of the state by arresting and prosecuting those found breaching the peace in Kaduna State. This action will be transparent so that those who are found guilty will face the wrath of the law and to serve as deterrent for any other offender in the future. 4, we are also reiterating our call to Kaduna State and federal government to genuinely show more efforts in mitigating these attacks by being proactive, increase in its intelligence framework for effective early response mechanism in partnership with local community members such as the vigilante group. This will create a safe space for the citizens in the affected communities and in the entire Kaduna State. We demand for equal opportunities in terms of socio-economic and political atmosphere for all the states in the affected, for all the citizens in the affected communities, so as to address challenges of perceived marginalization, injustice, and loss of livelihood in those communities ravaged by violence. 6, communities ravaged by the violence should also be supported by well-meaning citizens and the state government by helping them rebuild their homes and to empower women and their youth with livelihood support. 7, the state government should redouble responses and make every effort to protect the lives and property of its citizens for sustainable peace in those parts of the state. 8, dialogue mechanisms should be put in place using the organizations that have the capacity to intervene in those violent conflicts and with the support from government. 9, media organizations at local and international levels should always give a balanced report when disseminating their news to the public. 10, traditional and religious groups should also make all efforts to promote genuine tolerance, forgiveness, and reconciliation among the communities in disputes. 11, security measures to be put in strategic locations that will be working with community structures, vigilante groups. Such will help in early identification of incidences that could result into violence by reporting same to the relevant agencies for their prompt actions. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace, IDFP, which is a faith-based organization promoting the culture of peace in Nigeria for a better future of our coming generation, we continue to advocate for this reality till we see that our communities are safe from all sorts of violent attack, for people to go about their businesses as usual, while calling on all Nigerians to join hands to make Kaduna State peaceful and the country at large. Thank you, and God bless you.
In the name of Allah, the most benevolent, the most merciful, let me stand by the established protocol. Interfaith Dialogue Room for Peace, a call for peaceful elections in Edo State. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace has noted with concerns the current level of political intolerance leading to violence and tensions in Edo State. IDFP is hereby using this medium to call for a peaceful conduct of campaign activities ahead, during, and after the election coming up on the 19th of September 2020 in Edo State. We have had ugly experiences of election violence in the country, with its negative outcome and its attendant destruction of lives and property, which really is a setback to our nascent democracy. It is hoped that the coming election will remind us that we are one big family, and thus call on the citizens of Edo State to act responsibly by ensuring that the contest of the election is peaceful, credible, and transparent. The social and mainstream media platforms should play a significant role in ensuring peaceful elections by being conflict sensitive and discarding hate and the use of inflammatory speeches that can trigger violence, while calling on political party leadership and membership to ensure they control the conduct of their teaming supporters. We also urge our political leaders to desist from inflammatory utterances that could incite fellow citizens to violence before, during, and after the election. We urge all political actors to refrain from any speech or action that could jeopardize the democratic outcome of the election. We call on all citizens of Edo State to be vigilant in the defense of their democratic obligations. They should exercise their rights by voting consciously in the best interest of the state and Nigeria at large. We are also appealing to the electoral body to conduct the election in a fair We urge all political actors to refrain from any speech or action that could jeopardize the democratic outcome of the election. We call on all the citizens of Edo State to be vigilant in the defense of their democratic obligations. They should exercise their rights by voting cautiously in the best interest of the state and Nigeria at large. We are also appealing to the electoral body to conduct the election in a fair and transparent manner. We are hopeful that if the outcome of the election becomes peaceful, it will serve as a model for future elections in the country. We reiterate our continued determination to play our own part in promoting awareness for peace to reign in our country. We also affirm our support for the good people of Edo State to consolidate a peaceful and inclusive society that can provide the foundation for a prosperous future. We also appeal to the security agencies to ensure that the atmosphere during the election is free from rancor and violence, and to guarantee the safety of the electorates at the poll. In the same vein, we are calling on the youth to be good ambassadors of their families and societies at the polls, and to avoid being used as political tools for violence. IDFP wishes to use the medium to call on the Edo electorate for reflective embodiment of love as they exercise their franchise at the polls come 19th of September 2020. Finally, as we are all aware, elections are an integral part of democratic values, and as such, we are appealing to the people of Edo State to realize that after the elections, there will still be the citizens of Edo State who have a reason to live and to celebrate life with one another for the interest of peace and development within the family, the society, and the state at large. We pray for continued peace and development in Nigeria. Thank you very much for your patience. Somebody is asking, what has the federal government done, or whether they have done enough? From our own perspective, if you have a situation where people perpetrate violence and some people are caught and no punishment is meted to them, you are creating an atmosphere of impunity where people believe that whatever they do, nothing is going to happen to them. So in this regard, we just appeal to government that those who have been arrested, let them be taken to the court, let them be punished. We have our laws. If somebody kills, it's either he's killed or they send him to life imprisonment or something like that. That will send the right signal to those prospective perpetrators of violence that if they perpetrate any violence, they would be in for it. They will answer for it. But when people perpetrate violence, they are arrested and we don't hear anything about it, well, it more or less gives an impression that anybody can do whatever he likes, and it emboldens more people to also perpetrate this kind of violence. So this is my appeal, to the federal government. So, and then somebody asked, after that I'll pass the baton to my co, about the state government. You see, we don't have to deceive ourselves or play the ostrich. This violence, this situation in southern Kaduna has both political, ethnic, and religious dimensions. The people in southern Kaduna belong to what you can call, quote and unquote, the minority tribes of Kaduna State. And majority of them are non-Muslims. The governor happens to come from majority tribe, maybe what you normally call Hausa Fulani. And majority of them are Muslims. So there is this, mutual suspicion that the people in southern Kaduna do not trust the governor. And you knew all that transpired before the last election, to the extent that something that has never happened in that area. Whenever there was to be an election, whether it is PDP or APC or whatever they are, they normally pick a Christian from southern Kaduna as deputy governor. The governor felt so much outraged by the level of insolence, the level of attack on him and so on and so forth, that he voiced it out to the whole world on channels. I don't know whether channel people are here. It was on channels that I watched it myself when they said, what kind of thing have you done? Are you trying to create peace or religious tolerance by going all the way to go and pick a non-Muslim as your running mate? You are not doing any balancing. He said, if I pick the Pope as from my running mate, the people in that area will not vote for me. So it's at that extent that there is a kind of mutual suspicion or hatred or animosity between the governor on one side and the people in that area on the other side. So, and that's why we are appealing. We are peacemakers. We cannot go all out and attack people. We are not solving any problem by doing that. So we have to be very careful in the way we make our statements. But we are just appealing to the governor to be more responsive, to try as much as well to be neutral, in the problems that are happening within that area. You should not take side. That is where I'm going, and that is the only way by which there could be peace. But much more than that, I believe that if the people in that area resolve on their own to make peace, maybe they don't even need the government. And I want to give an example. I am a Yoruba man. I come from the southwest. You all remember, all of you are old enough to know the Ife Modakeke crisis. The government could not solve the problem. They were killing each other in thousands for years. It was the people themselves that put out their thinking cap. How long are we will continue to kill ourselves? Politicians were using them, and so on and so forth. They resolved on their own. We are no more fighting. And for close to 20 years now, there is not a single crisis in that area. It was the people themselves that sat down from the Ife side and the Modaeke side. It's just like the situation where we are here. They didn't wait for politicians. Politicians were more or less exacerbating, the problem. They were adding to the problem. They were fueling the problem for their own political advantage. The people themselves resolved, we are no more fighting. And for 20 years, there is not a single crisis in that area. So I think that is the most important thing that we should drum to the ears of the people of these areas, that they should resolve that politicians cannot solve their problem. It is they themselves who are living together that should resolve, not to fight. And the only way is if you resolve on the fact that if somebody attacks me, there must be a reprisal. Then the thing will continue. But if a side decides, if somebody kills from our side this time around, we will just call them and say, look, see what has happened. And then they resolve. And that will be the end of the crisis. I believe seriously that the model of the Ife Modaeke should be the one that we need in southern Kaduna.
We ignore the crisis in Kaduna to the detriment of this nation. And if we do not do something, the crisis in Kaduna will escalate, and Nigeria will not be safe. We can no longer afford to ignore the crisis going on in Kaduna. Last year, some of our people almost died in Kaduna when members of IDFP, when we went to the communities in search of peace. Alhaji Sani Kunle almost died. Edozako almost died, and quite a number of few others. Barrister Danladi almost died. And these were hoodlums who were enraged and not happy that we have come for peace. It took the intervention of the military and the police to rescue these great men and women who went in search of peace. And like Alhaji Sani Kunle said, these people carrying all these ammunitions, AK-47, where are they from? Who armed them? Are they stronger than our police and military? Have they overpowered our intelligence community? So it is a call for leaders, government at all levels, to know that government is put in place primarily to protect life and property. And when people are not safe, they will do everything to protect themselves, including using wrong means. And so our call is for government to buckle up and save these lives. We can no longer sit back and watch to see Nigerians being slaughtered like animals. I think we should say that enough is enough. Time to save lives. And I also think that this is the time for PDP, APC, ABGA, all kinds of names, to drop their political interest and come to the table. For us to say, we suspend everything about political interest to seek for the lives of our people. Who are we going to govern if everybody dies? Are we going to govern the houses and the trees and animals? When people are dying like animals every day, and we're busy thinking about political interests, this is not a time to talk about politics. This is not a time to be politically correct. This is a time to say enough is enough, that we can no longer watch lives being destroyed. This is not a time to put blames, enough of blames. Like Alhaji Sani Kunle said, the time comes when leaders and people say we must put a stop to this. Are there no more leaders in this country? Are there no more fathers? Are there no more mothers? Are there no more stakeholders who have grown beyond political interest, who can say, we must rise to save our communities? That is our concern, and that is why we are calling on all stakeholders to rise above ethnic interest, to rise above political interest, and to rise above selfishness. If not, what is happening in Kaduna will trigger into national crisis, and we cannot manage it. Thank you.